Are you looking for a $100 Bitcoin miner? I got you covered. What is going on, miners, and welcome back to the Hobbyist Miner channel. Well, where are my tinkerers at? Where are my individuals that love buying older hardware and trying to optimize it or utilize its efficiency or add other firmware to it to try this and try that? Well, if that's you, this video is perfect for you. Even though Canaan went ahead and released their brand new Nano 3, and no, this video isn't on that. However, I do have one of those on the way, so eager to check it out. Today, we're going to talk about lottery Bitcoin miners or solo Bitcoin miners. And well, I want to show you guys mine. It's several years old. I think it's totally badass, and we're going to check it out in more detail in just a minute. So over the last few years, these solo Bitcoin miners have become super popular. These lottery miners. I mean, there's all different ones out there. You have ones like the Mars Lander or the BitAx or the 𝐋𝐨𝐤𝐳 Terminus R909 or the Compact F USB guys. They're all pretty sweet. You know, they use very minimal watts. I mean, it's barely anything, less than a light bulb. Some of these are like 25 watts total. It's like nothing, which actually makes sense why to run these things. Now, some of them also are pretty flashy. They got LEDs going on and fans spinning around, and they look very retro and cool looking. And I get it. I have some of my own and I really like them. However, it doesn't really pull on those tinkerer strings of mine. You know, going back to when I first got started several years ago, I love to tinker. I love to try out and play with older hardware. And I remember I used to try to get these old HP towers working for mining. I was so persistent on it. Well, this type of solo Bitcoin miner really brings me back, and I've always enjoyed running this unit. I still run it to this day. Let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. And I know this might not be for everybody, but fellow tinkerers out there, I think this is right up your alley. Today's video is sponsored by the team over at ASICmarketplace.com. With crypto mining hardware prices dropping, it's critical to find an online store you can trust with your ASIC purchases. The team at ASICmarketplace.com has you covered with some of the most competitive pricing on the market. No matter what brand you're looking for, ASIC Marketplace has it. To name just a few: Bitmain, Goldshell, WhatsMiner, IB-Link, iPolo, Jazzminer, and many more. There are no surprises with ASIC Marketplace. The price listed on their website includes shipping. Imagine that. Finally, ASIC Marketplace takes the buying experience to the next level by accepting cryptocurrency as payment directly on their store. Go check out ASIC Marketplace today via the link in this video's description down below, as well as save $110 at checkout with discount code @TheHobbyistMiner. All right, let's take a look. So I love my solo Bitcoin miner, and you might be like, wait, what? Yes, this is a Bitmain Antminer S9i. This is actually the 14 terahash model. And yes, it does look brand spanking new because I actually did rebuild it. I actually pulled this out of my heat bit. If you guys remember that video some time ago, we tore that thing apart. And I ended up having to buy a new chassis, a new power supply, new fans for it. But guess what? This is one of those like little passion projects that I've really loved. So you might be sitting back and going, okay, what are we looking at here? So this is an old Bitmain Antminer S9i. This is an older model. You can find these on eBay, Facebook Marketplace, offers up. And you might right away go, hold the phone. It's 14 terahash. It uses a ton of watts. Why would you run this? Well, hang tight. All right, I got you. So nothing too crazy about this. Typical control board here. We have 3 hash boards on this unit itself. We are piping over to a Bitmain power supply. Picked up, I think the power supply was like barely anything. It worked out awesome, kind of getting all this together. And these things run for right around, last I looked, about $100 total. So you could pick, and some of you guys may pick these up super cheap based off of where you are and what's being sold locally on places like Craigslist and stuff like that. So what this is actually running that makes this actually make sense as a solo Bitcoin miner is right here. It's actually the firmware
So we've actually gone ahead and flashed this with BrainsOS, and that's really what makes this S9 totally make sense for a home miner. Now, this does have your high RPM fans on it, which a lot of these fun marketed ones that you see out there, they're super quiet, they're super silent. So that's kind of a downside of this. I thankfully run it out in my shed, so I don't have to worry about it. You guys might be able to run these in your garage or basement or something like that. But the nice thing is these are easy to come by and very inexpensive because people aren't buying these up for traditional Bitcoin mining. So with brains that we've put on this SD card, this is really what makes the difference. This is really what makes it worth trying this out. So let me jump over to the computer and I'll explain in more detail, explain how we're making this work for solo Bitcoin mining and how we've tuned this down to 300 watts.
All right, you can probably hear this thing ramping up in the background here. Plus, there's not a lot of airflow in this basement, especially in that closet. But let's take a look. So I'm over on eBay currently right now, and I wanted to show you guys, you can definitely find some of these out there. Here's an S9 for 132 bucks. This one, now it's a parts one, which these are pretty basic and simple to fix. 54 bucks. Here's another one here for only 100 bucks. Like, these are not super expensive, $89. So you definitely have a lot of options out there. So take a look, kind of your pre-used sites like your Facebook marketplaces. I always love finding stuff there. eBay is really good for your Bitmain stuff. You can definitely find a lot of your older hardware out there. Now, the kind of bread and butter of this and what makes this work as a solo Bitcoin miner for me is BrainsOS. Some of you guys are familiar with it, some of you guys aren't, and it works really, really well. And you can actually see you can run this from an S9 all the way up to an S19J Pro. A lot of miners with the newer Bitcoin miners will actually run Brains on it for better efficiency. And the operating system for Brains is really simple and easy to use. You literally just download the OS and you use something like Balena Etcher, something like that, to install it onto that SD card. It's super easy and super simple to do. Their website has full guides on it. I do have another video which walks you through doing this more step by step. I'll link it directly down below that I've done on my S9. But Brains is something I'd like to even get into with some of my bigger ASIC miners, especially like the S19K Pro. That's one where I'd love to kind of tweak that a little bit more, get more hash rate with lower watts, because let's be honest, the Bitmain firmware is not super efficient. It really, really isn't. I'm going to be honest with you. I've tried out Brains, Luxor, Hive. They're all so much better. You can get so much better hash rate at such lower watts. So I highly recommend that you do try it out. Brains is a great avenue to go. So after you've installed Brains on your S9 and you want to solo Bitcoin mine with it, check this out. So I have my S9 up and running, and I'm running at about 3.3 terahash. So this is about a $100 miner. The Canaan Avalon 3 is the Nano 3. It has about 4 terahash from what I've seen with Red Panda Mining as well as Vosscoin. And don't get me wrong, I think those things are awesome. Like, they're everything you need in a little tiny box, comes exactly the way you want it. You boot it up and you're off to the races. 4 terahash at like 140 watts. That's amazing. However, if you're looking more on the tinkerer side, and that's why I like this S9 avenue, is because I can control and really tweak these watts to determine how much hash rate I really want to use. Let me show you exactly. So it's not apples to apples. Like right now I'm at 3.3 terahash, but I'm using 300 watts. So that Canaan Avalon unit is definitely better. 100%, not disagreeing with that. But what I like about this is that we can really play around with this quite a bit. So if you scroll down, you guys can see each of our hash blades in our S9, hashboards, run at 77 watts each. And what's kind of determining this? Well, Brains has a kind of auto tune feature for this. So if you go into configuration, once you have Braiins installed, I don't have much going on here. I have it mining to solo CK pool. We'll look at that in just a minute. But under performance is really where you want to look at. And this is where I think there's a lot of fun here and where my tinkerer side comes in. So you can enable auto tuning and then you give it a power target. So for me, I said 300 watts. I could lower this down to 100 watts if I wanted to, or 140 watts, but it's going to go ahead and auto tune it. And the auto tuning, it takes a while, several hours. And then you come out the other side and you see exactly how you've done. But you can also do a hash rate target, and you can also go that avenue if you're interested. So you have a lot of different options in there. So for me, I'm mining to solockpool.org. So if we go over there, let's take a look. All right, so I'm sorry for what we're calling this the flashbang, right? That's like the new terminology here. But there's nothing really to this pool after you go ahead and put in your Bitcoin address. This is it. Basic and simple. So I'll zoom in here a pretty good amount. We've only had it up and running for just a matter of minutes. So some of this data is going to be a little outdated. I do run this at my ASIC mining shed, but as you guys can see, check it out. I got a Bitcoin address there as well as my S9i listed, and you can see we're hashing away. Now, there's a big thought pattern behind the fact of, with solo Bitcoin mining, doesn't matter how many terahash you're mining. It very much comes down to like your typical lottery system, right? It's like, yes, I guess when you buy more lottery tickets, you have a higher likely chance of winning the lottery, right? So one would say the more hash rate you can throw at solo Bitcoin mining, the more likely you're to hit a Bitcoin block. But let me give you a quick PSA here on solo Bitcoin mining, especially for our newbies here. You are not paid and you make nothing with solo Bitcoin mining. Sorry, there's a fly flying around here. Unless you hit a block. Hitting a block is insanely rare and very, very difficult. I don't know anybody who's hit a solo Bitcoin block or at least has marketed it or advertised the fact that they've done it. So that being said, solo Bitcoin mining is 100% a gamble. That's why a lot of these low watt miners have been very popular over the last 2 years. I like this avenue because for me, S9s are plentiful. They're everywhere. Most people aren't mining with these traditionally at 14 terahash. So at 1,000 watts plus. So for me, being able to take an old model like this and repurpose it, maybe this is right up your alley as well. I'd love to hear from you guys. Take BrainsOS, jump in here and tweak this. I mean, there's all different things we could do. We could lower this down to barely anything. We have lots of options and opportunity. All right, guys, that's going to wrap up today's video. Just a fun video. I wanted to share with you guys kind of what I'm doing for solo Bitcoin mining. As much as I love a lot of these other products out there, and as I said, I do have a Canaan Avalon Nano 3 on its way. I'm really eager to try it out. It looks like a lot of fun. My heart goes back to some of these older hardware and repurposing it for something like solo Bitcoin mining. Very curious. Are you guys brand new? You're looking to try out Bitcoin mining? Maybe this is right up your alley. Also, if you guys are currently solo Bitcoin mining, oh my gosh, this fly, go away. If you guys are currently solo Bitcoin mining, what hardware are you guys using? I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments. Well, good luck with your lottery play. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care. Sorry to interrupt your video, but check this out. I constantly get emails from the community asking me about trustworthy hosting facilities in the United States that I recommend. Well, I got you covered. Listen up. A few months back, I visited BlockOps Mining's brand new facility in Central Arkansas. The team there was super professional, knowledgeable, and everyday miners like you and I. After visiting the facility, I sent them a few of my ASIC miners for hosting and have been super happy with their service and communication. Go contact BlockOps Mining directly down below in the video description and tell them the Hobbyist Miner sent you for great pricing on miners and hosting. If you guys enjoyed today's solo Bitcoin mining video and you want more, well, I got 2 videos for you. The first one is up here and is a more detailed video on my S9 and BrainsOS. Go ahead and check it out. The one down here is one of those flashy Bitcoin miners that you could put on your desk at work or at home. It's got the LEDs and all that fun stuff going on. It is the Mars lander. I'll link that directly here down below. Check it out.